Everyone in the family except me knew about this. I stopped mid-toast at our engagement dinner when my phone vibrated. In an instant, the message upended my world. Unknown. They've been lying to you. See your real parents. Open attachment. The photo showed 4 people, my parents, Robert and Linda Carter, flanking strangers who had my eyes, my jaw, my face. Jason? Is everything okay? Emma's voice pierced the silence that had descended upon our immediate family and friends huddled at her parents' home. I looked up and found her worried gaze, but the flickering in her eyes wasn't surprise or confusion. Recognition. Fear. You know about this, I said, the words striking me like a physical blow. 20 faces turned toward us, so the room felt like it was spinning a bit. You know who these people are. Emma extended her perfectly manicured hand to mine over the linen tablecloth. Jason, please, not now. We'll discuss this on a later point. My father rose, and his chair scraped on hardwood. Son, put the phone away. This is meant to be a celebration. I flipped the screen around to face them. Who are they? My mother's face went white. My father's jaw clenched, the jaw I had seen in the photo, but not on him. I said, not now, he hissed through gritted teeth, a vein throbbing in his temple. I put my glass down, carefully, though I wanted to smash it against the wall. Now is all 30 years too late. Emma's father coughed. Maybe we should let the family have some privacy. No, I said, more emphatically than I meant. No more privacy. No more secrets. I scanned the people around the table, Emma's parents, my sister Claire, Emma's brother. Who else knows? How many of you have been lying to me my whole life? The silence was my answer. I pushed back from the table, napkin hitting the ground. I need some air. Jason, wait. Emma stood up to chase after me. I spun around. Did you know before or after you said yes to marry me? Her eyes filled with tears, but she did not deny it. She said nothing, not a word. I stepped outside, the solid oak door thudding shut behind me. My phone buzzed again in my pocket. Unknown, there's more. 30 a.m. Meet me at Lakeshore Park Southwest Bench. The night chill did not quell the tempest within. I walked along the edge of the lake, passing couples holding hands, joggers with headphones, families with strollers, normal people with normal lives. People who knew who the hell they were. Who was I now? Jason Carter? Son of engineer and socialite Robert and Linda Carter? My father's business partner's daughter, Emma Wilson's fiancée? Or someone else entirely? I took out my phone again and looked at the photo. He had a prominent brow, dark hair like mine. The woman was pretty in a worn-down way, striking the same deep-set eyes that looked back at me every morning in the mirror. They looked stiff and awkward, standing next to my parents, my adoptive parents. Did I ever truly belong in the Carter household? I'd always felt somehow different, always somehow not fitting in their world of galas and fundraisers and architectural awards. I'd assumed it was just my nature, quieter than the brassy zest of my father, less socially fluent than my mother's easy poise. But now I was wondering, had there been signs? Clues I'd missed? A recollection came back. I was 12, producing a family tree project for school. She had seemed uncharacteristically agitated, asking us to marvel at the Carter line going back generations, typing up photos and birth certificates for relatives I had never met. When I'd requested baby pictures of myself, she'd been evasive. We were really bad about documenting those early years, she had said, laughing it off. Another memory, my 16th birthday, asking why I didn't look like either of them. You take after my father, my mother had replied quickly. Same eyes, same build. A grandfather I'd never met, a grandfather who died before I was born, who for all intents and purposes would remain conveniently unphotographed whenever I glanced at the album, and also rarely discussed. I sat heavily on the bench, moonlight sparkling across the water. The Chicago skyline was in the distance, the city that I had called home my whole life suddenly feeling foreign. A man came over, mid-30s, tall like me, dark hair like mine. He did not ask for permission before sitting down. You look like her, he said at last. Our mother. My throat tightened. Who are you? Michael Reeves. Your brother. He reached out his hand, then stowed it when I did not take it. Brother, biological brother, I should say. Why now? I managed. Why come forward now after 30 years? Michael sighed and dug into his messenger bag. Because of this. He took out a thick manila envelope. I came upon these after our father died last month. He had been watching you your whole life. Payments, records, letters. Payments? He nodded grimly. Jason, you know that our biological parents didn't just give you up for adoption. They sold you. I felt sick to my stomach. That can't be right. That's illegal. It wasn't a legal adoption. The Carters had paid them $200,000 to go away, and they would continue to receive the payments as long as they stayed away. He tapped the envelope. But our father saved records of everything, and they've been blackmailing your adoptive parents ever since. I stared at him, processing it information. And Emma? How does she fit into this? Michael hesitated. From what I've been able to piece together, the Carters and the Wilsons, Emma's parents, have been close for decades. The Wilsons assisted in coordinating the entire event. Emma discovered this when she began dating you, apparently. Her father told her. My stomach churned. The woman I'd proposed to, the woman I'd been building a life with, had known the entire time that my life was a lie. Something else, Michael said softly. That's why I came to find you now. What more is there to be? Your biological parents weren't any old anyone. Our father was business partners of Robert Carter. It was a dispute, lots of money. It wasn't solely about giving up a child expressly unwanted. This was revenge, a way to strike our father where it would hurt him most. I stood abruptly. I need to talk to them. The Carters. All of them. Michael grabbed my arm. Wait, are you sure that's wise? You're upset. Upset. I laughed bitterly. My whole life has been a lie. Upset doesn't even begin to describe it. You don't at least open the envelope first. He held it out to me. Know what you're getting into. I accepted it and hefted its contents. Did you know about me? Growing up, I mean. Michael shook his head. Not until I was a teenager. They told me I had a brother, but that he had been adopted as a baby. They explained it was a regular adoption, that they couldn't keep another child, that they wanted you to have a better life. His mouth twisted. I believed them. I opened it, gently extracted the first document, a handwritten agreement signed 3 decades prior. The signatures at the bottom made my heart stop. Robert Carter, William Wilson, Richard Reeves. Jesus, I whispered. There's more, Michael said. Bank statements, pictures of you growing up. They watched you from afar. And letters, from our mother to you. Letters they never sent. I looked up sharply. She wrote to me? He nodded. Every birthday. Every Christmas. For years. I swallowed hard and rifled through the papers until I found them, a stack of envelopes, all addressed simply to my son. I shook too violently to get them open. I have to go, I said, shoving everything back into the envelope. I need answers. Michael stood. I understand. But Jason. He took out a business card and pushed it into my palm. Call me, whatever happens. You're still my brother. I followed her back to the house, and the dinner guests had all left. Only my parents, Emma, and her parents sat in the living room, a tense silence hanging in the air. I walked into 5 pairs of eyes on me. You had your little drama, my father said icily. Are you finished now? I held up Michael's envelope. I've just been having an interesting conversation with my brother. My real brother. Emma gasped softly. My mother covered her mouth. What do you want, Jason? Emma's father asked tiredly. Money? Is that what this is about? Is that what he's after? Money. I laughed bitterly. I want the truth. For one time in my life, I want somebody to tell me the truth. My mother rose, pressing trembling hands against her dress. You are our son, Jason. In every way that matters. Except biologically. Except honestly. I turned to Emma. And you? Did you think you were never going to tell me? She wiped at her tears. I wanted to, Jason. So many times. But they said it would ruin you. Ruin us. I was like, after we got married, maybe. After we were locked in? After you'd fought your way into the family business? Was that the plan? That's not true, her father said. Emma loves you. Emma loves what I symbolize, I replied. The son of a wealthy couple, raised to take over the Carter-Wilson architectural firm. Did I get that right? Was I just another construction project to you all? My father pounded his hand on the side table. Enough. Yes, we adopted you. Yes, there were unconventional arrangements. But we gave you everything. Education, employment, a future with a beautiful woman. What else can you ask for? The choice. I shouted, my control finally breaking. The choice to know who I am. The ability to control my own destiny. The decision to marry someone who is not hiding my identity from me. I looked at Emma, who had her head down. Did you even want to marry me? Or was this arranged too? I love you, she whispered. But yes, our parents always wished we'd marry. The firm would be kept in the family, I said. Except I'm not family, am I? I never was. Stop, Jason, my mom said, begging. Let's be rational about this. Whatever that man told you, his name is Michael. He's my brother. And he provided evidence of decades of blackmail payments to my biological parents. Payments you've been making to keep them silent about how you effectively bought me. My father's face hardened. They were druggies who didn't want a kid. We offered them a hands-off exit and put you into a better life. They were your partners in business you defrauded, I countered. Then, you stole away their child. That's a lie, Emma's father said sharply. Richard Reeves was agitated, bankrupt. Robert was willing to buy him out fairly. I laughed humorlessly. Oh, and coincidentally adopted his son? Was that included in the deal too? The room fell silent. How long have you known? I asked Emma quietly. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Since our third date. So Dad took me aside afterward, said I should know what I was getting into. Getting into? I repeated. Like I'm a fucking complication. That's not what I meant. I drew one document from the envelope, a recent bank statement confirming a transfer of $15,000 to an account in the name of Richard Reeves. Still paying them off all these years later. My father's face reddened. You were supposed to be protected by those payments, to prevent them from returning and ruining your life. No, I said quietly. They were to protect you, to save your name, your business, a family name you value. I took out another document, the original agreement. This was not about enhancing my existence. This was about winning, on taking everything from Richard Reeves, even his son. It wasn't like that, my mother said, reaching for me. We wanted a child so badly. When Linda discovered she was pregnant, we were overjoyed, but complications arose. I have a sister, I interrupted. Claire is your biological daughter. So don't tell me this was about wanting a child. This was about my dad's vendetta against his business partner. My father loomed over me. Just enough of that nonsense with history. You read too much into ancient history. Whatever differences Richard and I had, they are long gone. The truth is, we raised you, loved you, gave you everything. I stared at the man I had called father for 30 years. Everything except the truth. Please explain what you did, Robert. What did you do to Richard Reeves that was so bad he had to sell his own kid? I don't have to hear this. He turned away, but I had a hold of his arm. Yes, you do. For once in your life, you're going to speak the truth to me. Something in my voice, or maybe the look in my eyes, stopped him. He sank back in his chair, seeming to age beyond his 65 years. It was 1995. The real estate market was holding. Richard and I had a development deal, a high-rise on valuable lakefront land here. He sighed heavily. There was permit problems, environmental concerns. Richard wanted to withdraw, refund the investor. I saw an opening to purchase the land cheaply, deal with the permit issues myself. So you pushed him out, I offered. I leveraged him out, my father corrected. Business is business. He made some bad deals, became over-leveraged. When he was unable to pay his bills, I purchased his share. And then what? So decided to take his kid too. My mother intervened. It wasn't like that, Jason. Catherine, your biological mother, she was pregnant with you at the time. They were desperate, discussing abortion. We proposed a solution that would work for everyone. Help everyone, I echoed. By paying them to go away from me. By pretending I didn't exist for 30 years. By plotting out my whole future, including who I'd marry. We sheltered you from those willing to sell their own child, my father shouted. Have you people you drove to financial ruin? I shot back. Emma stood suddenly. Stop it, both of you. This isn't helping. I held the envelope in my hands, acutely aware of the weight of its contents. I haven't opened up the letters yet. The ones that my biological mother wrote to me, which you kept from me. My mother paled. Letters? What letters? Birthday cards. Christmas cards. 30 years of letters I never got because you intercepted them. I took one, dated on my 18th birthday. Should I read it here? Share with the class. My father stood. I think you should leave. Catch you when you can be reasoned with. Reasonable. I stepped toward him. You stole me. You've been lying to me my whole life. You played with my and Emma's relationship. You were paying my biological parents to keep a distance. Tell me, what is a recognizably reasonable response to that? We protected you, he shouted. And from parents who would sell their own kid. From the truth that would have destroyed you. Everything we've done has been for you. I shook my head. No, it was for you. For your company. For your legacy. I was just a pawn. I turned to Emma. Did you ever love me? Catch like a rocket. Really love me. For me, not for what I represented. Tears streamed down her face. Yes, I did. I do. But I can't pretend that the circumstances didn't matter. I cannot pretend that I would have ever met you if we hadn't been family. At least she had finally stopped lying. I placed the envelope on the coffee table. I'm leaving. The wedding is off. Whatever is in here, I'll decide what to do with it later. Jason, my mother grasped me. Please, don't throw away everything we've built. Everything you've built on lies. I flinched back from her reach. I have to find out who I am. Who I would have been without all of your architecture. I stepped to the door, then stopped. Don't try to contact me. Any of you. I stepped outside and felt my phone vibrate again. Michael, how did it go? Are you okay? I didn't have an answer, couldn't find the words. For instead, I stumbled and blinded into the evening, my years of form identity deconstructed with each footfall. I spent the night in a hotel room, staring at the ceiling, the envelope of secrets unopened next to me. By the morning I had decided. I called Michael. I want to meet her, I said when he picked up. Our mother. There was a pause. Are you sure? She's fragile. I have to know where I came from, who I am. Okay, he said finally. She's at a rehab facility in Michigan. It's going to be my place tomorrow, if you wish. Yes. What about the Carters? Emma. I closed my eyes, remembering the look on my father's face, defensive, angry, but afraid deep down. Afraid of losing control. Afraid of losing me. I don't know yet. I just need time and space to think. Understandable. He paused. There had been a Michigan Avenue coffee shop. Can we meet there first? And there's something else I need to tell you. My stomach clenched. More surprises? Not all surprises are bad, little brother. The coffee shop was nearly empty, with a few straggling patrons on their laptops. Michael was seated in a corner booth, 2 cups in front of him. Figured you could use something stronger than coffee, he said, pushing a cup toward me as I took a seat. It's Irish. I took a sip, embracing the burn. Thanks. How'd it go? Slight work, as you'd expect. I ran a hand through my hair. I left the envelope. What? Why would you do that? Michael leaned forward. That was our leverage. I got copies at the hotel, I said softly, before I went back. I'm not completely naive. He reclined slightly, a smirk forming on his lips. Smart. Carter sure raised it. He stopped. Sorry. That was insensitive. I shrugged. It's the truth, isn't it? Robert Carter did raise me. For better or worse. Do you regret knowing? The truth, I mean. I considered this. No, living a lie is not living at all, even if the truth hurts. Deep, Michael replied, but his voice was mild, not derisive. So what happens now? I asked. You found me, told me the truth. What's your endgame here? Michael stared at the cup in front of him. Honestly, I don't know. My father died, and I discovered all this. I was angry. I considered blackmailing the Carters myself, picking up where our parents left off. He sighed. But then I read some of the letters. Father, he was sorry he let you go. Our mother still does. She was alive, incidentally. My heart stuttered. She is. He nodded. In rehab. Again. She's been here and there for years. But she always asks about you when I go to visit. They could have tried to get me back. If they so regretted it. The money, at first. Then shame. Then it was too far gone, and they told themselves you were better without them. He met my eyes. Were you? Better off. I don't know. I replied truthfully. Life with the Carters was privileged. The motto was, I never wanted for anything. But somehow there was always something missing, something that didn't quite belong. Now I know what was the truth. We were silent for a moment. What about your fiancée? Michael asked. Emma, right? I twisted the gold engagement ring on my finger, then slid it off and placed it on the table. How can I marry someone who is complicit in the lie, even if it was out of what she thought was an act of protecting me? And work? The big architectural firm? I'm a good architect, I said. That much is real. I'll find something else. Michael hesitated. You could come work with me. I own a small design firm in Detroit. Nothing fancy, but honest work. I looked at him, this stranger that had my features, my brother. Why would you offer that? You don't even know me. Because we're family, he said matter-of-factly. And I think we both had enough lies to last a lifetime. For the first time since getting that text message, I felt something like hope. There's one more thing, Michael said, reaching into his bag again. Something I didn't mention earlier, because I wanted to see what played out with the Carters first. He took out a smaller envelope, slid it across the table. It contained a key and an address scrawled on a slip of paper. What's this? Dad gave you something in his will. The lawyers located me in an attempt to find you. A slight smile played on his lips. The old man must have had a change of heart in his old age. He gave you half his estate, including his Michigan Lake house. I looked at the key, still not processing this new information. Why would he do that? It was restitution, his letter said. Too little, too late. But Ernest, I believe. He shrugged. This place has potential, but it is terrible. But you're an architect, no? I laughed despite myself. Right. Look, I know this is a lot to digest. You don't have to make any decisions tonight. He took out a business card and wrote down a number on the back. That's my personal cell. Call me when you're ready. If you're ready. I took the card and turned it over in my fingers. And our mother? Does she want to meet me? More than anything, Michael said quietly. But she's fragile, and she will get it if you're not there yet. I put the card and the key in my pocket and nodded. I need some time. Take all you need. We've waited 30 years. A little longer is not going to kill us. Before we left, he paused and awkwardly hugged me. Welcome to the family, little brother. The real one, this time. For the next several days, I walked the streets of Chicago in a daze, like a tourist, seeing the city, my city, with fresh eyes. I went down to the lakefront and looked at the skyscraper that my father, Robert, had designed, his first significant project, the one that launched Carter Wilson Architects. I was standing in its shadow, wondering how much of that success had been founded on the decline of Richard Reeves. I thought about Emma. Had she ever actually seen me, or only what the part one was supposed to portray? I recalled our first date, an art gallery opening, arranged by our mothers. Our initial kiss inside her parents' yacht. Our relationship, the careful choreography of which was bringing together, through marriage, two family legacies. Had I ever had a choice? Or was the course of my life already fixed that day 30 years ago when Robert Carter took everything away from Richard Reeves? By day 3, I had made my decision. After a single suitcase, I booked a flight to Detroit for that evening. And then I took a cab to the Carter house one last time. Before I had a chance to knock, Emma opened the door as though she had been waiting for me. Jason, she breathed. You came back. Not for long, I said. I only came to say goodbye properly. Her face fell. Where are you going? To find out who Jason Reeves is. Reeves? She stepped back slightly. You're taking their name. It's my name. It always was. I looked over her shoulder at the Carters, my parents, standing in the hallway. I'm not here to fight. Just wanted you to know I'm getting out of Chicago for now. My mother stepped forward. Jason, please reconsider. We can get through this as a family. That's exactly it, I said softly. We're not a family founded on truth. I should feel what that feels like. With them? My father asked bitterly. The people who sold you? With my brother, for now. And maybe, one day, with my mother. I met his gaze steadily. I'm not saying that I am never coming back, that I'm never forgiving you. However, I still need space right now to process it all. Emma wiped at her tears. What about us? Was anything real? Some of it was, I admitted. But we cannot build a future on a foundation of lies, Emma. You know that. You're the daughter of an architect, after all. I reached into my pocket, pulled out a little box, her engagement ring. I believe this is yours. She accepted it, her fingers grazing mine for the final time. I truly loved you, Jason. Maybe you did. But the idea of us you loved more. I stepped back. Goodbye, Emma. My mother stepped toward me, arms outstretched. Jason, please. We're still your parents. We raised you, loved you. I know, I said, accepting the brief hug. And I'm grateful for that. But now I have to see who I would have been without all this. I waved around the grand foyer, the template dream house of the template Chicago family. Without the lies. My father was rigid, inflexible. You're making a mistake. Probably, I acknowledged. But it's my mistake to make. For once. I emerged from the building and walked toward the cab waiting for me, lighter than I'd felt in years, maybe lighter than I'd ever felt. The burden of unanswered questions, of things that complicity never added up, was lifted. My phone buzzed with a text message from Michael. Flight still on schedule? I'll pick you up at DEW. I typed back, on my way. Can't wait to see the lake house. Then I added, and meeting my mother, when she is ready. When the cab drove away from the house where I'd grown up, I didn't look back. For the first time in my life, I was looking ahead toward a stranger's life that was actually, finally about to become mine. Was I wrong to have chosen truth over comfort? To leave behind the only family I'd ever had, even if they created our life upon lies? What would you have done had you been in my shoes?